RiverBender.com.
I'll be over the edge now in no time at all. I'm falling faster and faster and faster with no time to stall. The closer you get, the further I fall.
Welcome back, 1016. Grid Solar in the studio. Ryan, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you, CJ?
Welcome back to hell. Cold. It's what I meant. I didn't mean like the area. I meant the weather. You were in Palm Springs.
I mean, but 45 feels like 75 out there at this point. So.
Yeah, but that's depressing me too. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I've been kind of a whiny jerk all day because of this. You know, it's like I used to be a winter guy. Now I'm not anymore, you know?
I don't get the winter people.
Yeah, God love you. Someone's got to. You know?
Yeah, move to Seattle.
No, yeah, good luck with that. With that being said, Grid Solar, how are you doing?
We're doing good.
Back in the saddle after a vacation, much needed.
That's right. Yeah.
And ready to power more people's homes.
That's correct. And now we're open to general electrical contracting services. So
Really?
we basically have a couple master electricians on staff. So
What's that mean for your clients?
it just opens up the number of services that we can do for everybody. So, like, you know, when we do a regular appointment for solar, we don't just look at how your house is for solar.
Right.
We look at other ways we can help you. We always tell people we're trying to sell you as few panels as possible, not as many as we can get by.
Right.
Get away with, right? So if we could spend $1,000 putting more insulation in your attic, and that saves you $3,000 by not needing that many panels, then that's a wise use of your money, and you should do that.
Is that a lot of the problem for some of these folks too? Is just poor insulation and things like that?
I mean, it can be.
Yeah.
Like, I've looked at literally thousands and thousands of power bills.
Right.
In the time I've done this,
Yeah.
right? So I'm pretty good at saying, okay, 1,500 square foot house, it should be using about this much electricity. And then, yeah, if I see a power bill, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, is there a data mining farm in the basement or something? Like, you know,
Bitcoin.
yeah, are you guys mining crypto downstairs? Like, where is all this electricity usage coming from? And usually during that consultation, we kind of pinpoint what it is, right? Yeah. The other thing is we do HVAC. So, like, if you've got an outbuilding and you want to do, like, we're really focusing on mini splits because it's a whole lot more efficient to
A lot of people are doing the mini split now.
Right. When you look at, like, I can spend $6,000 or $7,000 on a single whole home unit that's going to do exactly what the last one did, maybe slightly more efficiently, or you can, you know, have 3 different locations, you know, where they call them heads, basically, right? So you have 3 different locations, but you still only have the one outdoor unit. Now it's going to heat and cool your house much more efficiently.
You know, they have those when I was in Austin. That's what my house was. It was just a mini. It was great too because I mean, there's so many times you're sitting in that one room and you know damn well it ain't no 72 degrees in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Absolutely.
You know it's not, but everywhere else is.
And look where they put every thermostat. If you have one thermostat in your house,
Oh, you're done.
I can tell you exactly where it's at. In the most center part of the house that they could possibly get it.
You just hit it.
Right. And so it's like, okay, so for it to be, you know, 65 on my couch, I need to set this to 68 or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and then it's weird too because you get into spots where, and we all have that temperature gate or that threshold where it seems like in that one home, once you hit 73 or 4 or 5, whatever your number is, it won't stop running, even though it says we're at 73. Well, that one part of the house it might not be, and it's dropping you down.
If you have that situation, right, when you get to 96 degrees outside and it won't stop running, you need to have a consultation.
That's what I think too.
Yeah, because it's not keeping up, and that it could be because it just needs to be charged. It could be because it's just incredibly inefficient.
Well, and that's my point, because it's like, why not have this split? Because you're going to save years on that unit. I mean, from what I'm understanding, from what I've read too.
Oh yeah, like we had a customer who he had like a 2.5 ton unit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your house is double the square footage of mine, and I have a 2.5 ton unit.
That's got to be brutal for them.
It was absolutely brutal. And so, like, very rarely do I ever say, you know, like, hey, spend money on HVAC before you spend money on solar. Right. Very rarely. But for that customer, that was the right thing to do. It's like, I don't know how much solar you really need, because half of your panels are going to go just to your HVAC, and they shouldn't need to.
Right. And I think, too, it's so important to have these conversations, because for a long time, technology, when it came to home tech, it was almost like voodoo, or like you read it in like Tech Gizmo or whatever the magazine was, and it was a fable. But now you're seeing this firsthand experience with video and everything else, that this stuff is working. It's better than the traditional way of doing things. It's there.
There's always like this idea that the systems of your house are very separate people. Plumbing and HVAC and electrical, they're completely different. And it's like, but that's the thing, is like, that's where the new technology is going, is it's bringing it all together and saying, what is the most efficient way to do all of this
I'm
stuff?
a big fan of the mini split. And that the big thing is having somebody that does it right, because that's where the problem comes in. It's not the appliance, it's not the equipment. It's the fact that you had, Uncle Johnny, who maybe did, was an electrician 40 years ago, but didn't do it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely.
How intricate are those mini split systems? Do they get pretty tricky to put in, or?
Well, that's the nice thing, is they're designed for being retrofitted, right? So they're designed to be in a house that you can't get behind the walls and things like that, right? So they're designed for that. Like, if you think of Europe, right? Europe, they have so many 200-year-old houses. Right. So many more than we do. Then obviously HVAC didn't exist back then, right? It was a stove, right? So that's all Europe uses.
You're right, because whenever I was there, you see them all over the apartment. That's literally it.
And so it's so much easier, because basically all you have to do is drill one hole through a wall to get to the outside, and now you can install that mini split on the other side of that hole.
And, I'm sure is a common thought, and I don't want to say misconception, is, man, my power bill is going to go up because I'm adding these 3 or 2.
Sure. I mean, I can see that being a common misconception.
Right, because you're adding something.
Right. And you might even be adding like, hey, here's how much my house could have used before, and now it can use more. Right. That is possible. But again, it all comes down to efficiency, right? Like, if you have to heat your house or cool the middle of your house down to 68 so that sitting by your couch it can be a nice 72, then that's not very efficient. Right. So and that's the same thing with, like, if you're going to pay to heat and cool the air, you don't want it to just escape outside as fast as possible. That's where the insulation comes in, right? And then, of course, we're solar guys, so we always think, if you're going to spend as much money as we spend on electricity every month, maybe you should own the source. Right. Buy the source of electricity, and then you can actually own the production.
Well, and this is where it goes really hand in hand, because once you have your own source of electricity, plus you have mini splits and you have things that make it more efficient and better insulation in some homes, or what have you, then all of a sudden you're really in control of this. I mean, it's truly your world, and the power company's not even living in it.
Correct. And CJ, so I'm going to quiz you here. What would you think is the typical, let's say, 20-year age group of our customers for solar?
45
to like 55 or 65 or something.
I would give 45 to 65. I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I'd say I would have said 50 to 70. So you're very close. But in general, that surprised me when I first got in the industry, right?
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah, and so, like, it really surprised me, because you'd think that the younger folks would be thinking more long term and greener, et cetera, et cetera.
And older folks are saying, I'm good with where I'm at.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But the reality of it is that those 50 to 70-year-olds, they have maybe some disposable income, right? Kids have moved out, so they paid for college. That part's done, right? But they're still making money. And then not only that, but they're thinking about retirement. Yeah. Right? And so, obviously, with the climate the way it is, and inflation, and like, we don't know what our costs are going to be, right?
That's a great point.
Like, my financial advisor said, let's just throw a number out there. $2 million was enough for me to retire on comfortably. But with inflation going rampant, it's like, well, is it now? Does it need to be $2.4 million? And I don't really have a way to make money. So basically what we're finding is that people are trying to find ways to control their costs. Yeah. Right? What costs can I control so then I can predict what that's going to cost. And solar is a fantastic way to do that. You might not be able to own 100% of your power bill, but why rent 100% of it just because you can't own 100%?
Well, it's such a good point because you're investing towards retirement. I mean, everyone should be at least, and your power bill really is kind of one of them, because if you can control, especially if you know, hey, this is it, I'm not going nowhere, this is my homestead for the next, until they carry me out of here, I'm going to be here. Why not invest in your power bill and your electricity? And then all of a sudden you realize, I'm investing in my retirement too.
Absolutely. There's the 3 reasons to go solar, and they're the same 3 reasons people buy houses, right? When I buy a house, I know what my mortgage is going to be for the next 30 years. I get the equity from it now, right? And then there's an end date. It might be 30 years in the future, but at least there's an end date.
Yeah.
When you rent a house, none of those things are true. And people are doing the exact same thing with their power. When you rent your power, you don't know what it's going to cost tomorrow. When you move out, they don't give you anything. And there will never be a time when that bill is 0.
Yeah.
Okay, when you own solar, you get all of those same benefits. Equity added to your house the second you put it on there. You know exactly what, like if you get a loan for the solar, 10 years from now, you know exactly what that bill is going to be until someday it's 0. And I always call that the promised land for solar, is when you have a solar system that's completely paid off and yet it's still producing high value electricity. If you have a power bill that's $200 today, a optimistic guess would be that it's going to be $400 10 years from now.
True.
Right? That's optimistic.
Right.
It could be more than that.
It probably will be.
That's a very modest 4% increase.
Yeah.
Ameren, Missouri has a 15% rate increase on the books for this year. Now, I don't know if the Public Service Commission will approve that,
but it's still there.
But they're not going to approve 0. They're not going to say no, it's 0. They're going to give them some of that 15%, and probably closer to 7, 8, 9, 10%. So what would your power bill be if you get 10% increases every year? Well,
and the thing is, too, that people need to, I think, realize, and you're seeing it now, every industry is starting to shape towards this, new home technology. Every industry, whether it's cars or any type of appliance or any type of even business, technology, it's all kind of combining into this where you're going to have a hub. I mean, that's what your home is going to turn into, is this technological hub. So you might as well get on it early, because we're seeing this with the Mustang now, with the way it can charge your home. I mean, that's incredible.
Well, and, I hate to talk politics, right? But power companies don't look at their electrical, like the landscape of their costs in 4-year terms.
No, God, no. That's the least of their concern.
Right. They look at it a 20-year outlook and a 40-year outlook. Yeah. So no one administration is going to change in any way, shape, or form what power companies are planning to do.
Yeah, no.
Right?
No.
And if you watch them, power companies all around are going solar, renewable, right? And they brag about it constantly. They brag about, look what we did. We spent money on infrastructure, and we spent money on solar and this and that. And honestly, it's on your bill. The fuel, the renewable energy fuel adjustment charge, it's on your bill. They are charging you for their increased cost by going solar.
So they're already charging you for solar already. We just don't realize it.
That's why one of my favorite things to say is you're going to go solar whether you like it or not. The question is, who are you going to pay the bill to?
You're 100% right. And now, what are you guys doing right now? How's work going for you guys?
Obviously we've slowed down a little bit, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about the politics thing, is because we're getting a lot of grassroots people telling us they're afraid for the tax credits, right? Like there's a lot of violent changes occurring in politics right now, and so people are afraid. Like, is this tax credit on the chopping block, right?
But it's already there, correct? So you can't lose it.
Absolutely, it's already part of the Inflation Reduction Act. It's wildly popular. It will take an act of Congress to actually overturn that, right? And again, like if the guy who's cutting all the money owns a solar company and an EV company, my guess is the tax credit's probably safe.
Right. So that's why I roll, because it's not. I'm not annoyed with I roll my eyes because people get so caught up in the headline, and it's like it would take so much to get rid of that thing. I mean, it would be an arm and an elbow, maybe even a kidney, especially to convince Elon Musk to get rid of a solar credit.
Right. Well, I mean, if we've saved 55 billion so far, there's been 55 billion spent on writing about it.
I'm ready for my check.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And spend it on solar.
That's right. That's right. We're all
bringing it back
That's
around.
your ad campaign. That is your ad campaign. The bill balance on solar covered because of your Doge savings.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we love solar too. Is like, how many times has the federal government ever spent federal tax dollars on your property? This is your chance to get them to do that.
That's actually true. Yeah, it's true.
This is your chance to get the federal government to spend tax dollars on your property.
Well, and that's why I'm glad that you came on to talk about it, because I'm sure that people are, going, man, I was thinking solar, but if, this is going, and perception's reality for so many people.
Yep.
So it's good to get that out there. But
So you got that.
Yeah.
Is the tax credit going to be there? And then, of course, you got the doom and gloom of Ameren net metering, one-to-one net metering being gone. And so, there's not as many people knocking down our door. But, that's what I'm saying is you still have the solar renewable energy credit here in Illinois, which is pretty much paying for the battery for you. That's another thing we're seeing is that all of these national companies are just fleeing Illinois.
They are, yeah. I've noticed that even people that I've kind of just seen around, it's goodbye. Like, I've gone without a trace.
And the ones who are sticking around and selling batteries, the amount that they're charging for batteries is ludicrous.
I couldn't imagine, because you're trying to make up for the cost of the net metering, because you were taking, I'm sure, massive amounts.
And batteries are expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't have to put a 50% margin, markup on it. And that's what most of these companies are doing, right? Because of how much complication it adds, right? But at the same time, it doesn't add that much as they're charging for it.
No, and one of the things is, too, I'm sure for a lot of it, because I've tried to look up just different solar products, and it says a lot of times on websites call for consult, so you never see that battery price. That's kind of where you guys come in. So we don't really know. It's just, okay.
And that's actually where we're getting a lot of our,
I'm sure.
our consultations is from battery companies, because obviously they don't actually sell their product, right? So they need a consultation from a dealer. We're a dealer. And so they send us their name and information, and we end up communicating with the person and saying, hey, you are a good candidate, or believe it or not, we'll tell people that you're not a good candidate. We do tell people that. Well,
and that's a good thing too. It's that conversation, because I think a lot of times when maybe people had a hang up to this, it's, are they selling me? And it's not. I mean, it's not a sell. This is something that you have to want to do. It's not you're going to buy a car and you want a Camry, and then all of a sudden they talk you into a Challenger,
Right, yeah.
And you're doing this because you want to do it, right. Or there's a major interest to do this. So it's a partnership. It's not a sale.
No, absolutely not. We are consultative. We're educational. That's what we're there to do. And again, if you're not 100% sure, then you're probably not signing. So I just want you to look at the numbers, fully understand everything. And then I can't decide, I can think it's a good idea for me and my family, but I'm not going to decide for you.
Well, and too, I mean, I'm glad we talked about mini splits today too, because even if you don't decide to go solar, there's still many ways to be more efficient with your electricity and your bills.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I brought that up. The same with the electrical consultations too. If you need an electrical consultation and we're curious about solar, have us over for the electrical consultation, and we'll talk to you about solar. Either you're more interested or not after that conversation, right? We're just trying to bring more people in the door, essentially, be able to help them in more ways.
100%. Ryan, always good talking, man. 20 minutes just flew right on by. We kicked ass today. I'm going to say that. We did a good job.
Always a pleasure.
Well, it's not Palm Springs, but it'll do.
For now.
At 1034 GridSolarLLC.com. We'll take a quick break. More Daily Show on this Monday next.